Okay, I think we should start, since I guess we all have some other obligations, and I'm really grateful to colleagues from Finland as well as Estonia that we found their valuable time to share their rich experience on how to actually involve some movement in schools. So I'm proud to present our guests from abroad today. So Tuija Tamelin, she's the
Hi everyone.
Yeah, she's from Finland. She's a principal researcher at JMAK University of Applied Sciences. Until the end of previous year, she was research director in Likes Institute, but now Likes Institute merged with this university. So this is another dimension now, and I'm really glad that I worked also with Tuija on previous projects, and currently also we are working on two European projects. So we are actually colleagues who meet each other a few times per year, and I hope I will see you soon in person. Tuija, we didn't see each other from COVID, I think. So hello, Tuija, and we have also colleagues from Tartu, Estonia. Jarek Mestu is from Institute of Sports Science and Physiotherapy, associated professor over there, and also Evelyn Mestu. So Jarek is leading over there a team of enthusiastic researchers. We also cooperate in two research projects currently. I would like first to draw some roadmap of today's meeting. So first, I would like to say that this discussion will be of course, in English, and you can write questions in chat at the open. We will also open microphones to discuss also orally. And I would like to also introduce the context of this event. So in Slovenia, we are establishing a partnership between academia and the civil sphere around some guidelines how our educational system should be built in next years. And within this effort, one of the important group from our side as well, especially, is also a group for introducing movement in schools, in kindergartens and schools up to the university level. And I'm co-chairing this group with a colleague from one of primary school, Petra. And the intention of this discussion today is to get rich experience that Finnish as well as Estonian schools have introducing different forms of movement within school setting. So before giving the floor to our colleagues, I would like to present some background as well. So it's really important to know following. I will now share the screen. Sorry for a while. We will actually speak about 24-hour movement behavior. Those who are not from the field of physical activity, I think it's worth to present shortly this paradigm. So experts from the field of physical activity do not speak only on physical activity by themselves and different kind of level of intensity of physical activity, like low physical activity, moderate, vigorous, very vigorous physical activity, but also of two other dimensions. These are, of course, sedentary time, which increased a lot in previous years, especially in children, and also facilitated by corona circumstances, as well as sleep. All these three dimensions are very interconnected and influence the daily life of children, but they have also separate effects on children health, but not in all three dimensions: in physical, social, and emotional health. And of course, this also influences a lot cognitive abilities. I will not present the evidence about the connection between physical activity and especially physical fitness and cognition today, but this could be also discussion later. So this is one paradigm which is really important, and recommendations on 24-hour movement behavior, they are not worldwide accepted, but for instance, it's very popular in Canada as well as in Australia. WHO actually provides only guidelines for physical activity and sedentary, and for school children, for instance, this in our case in primary school, so children 6 up to the 14, and also secondary children up to 18. This guidelines recommends at least 1 hour per day of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity. This is actually a hard breathing and also sweating in a lay description, and also less than 2 hours of sedentary activity. If we combine this also with sleep recommendations, there is one cut off regards to age, but generally there is 9 to 11 hours of sleep for younger children, and 8 to 10 hours per adolescents. So this is worth to know as a background of this event, since there was one meta-analysis done on meeting these guidelines from preschool to adolescents, and this paper, I will also paste the link to all these resources, so has shown that really a small share of children meet these recommendations. If we look for Europe, for instance, we have 13% of boys and 9% of girls who meet these recommendations, and also we can see that preschoolers, for instance, in girls are those who are affected a lot, as well as on the other side, we can see that in boys, adolescents are endangered. So this is actually the challenge that we are facing also in Slovenian schools. So how to overcome this sedentary time, which is also introduced with classes in most of the subjects, as well as, for instance, some homework, which is actually appoint children to do sedentary homework. And that's why it's really interesting to see how other countries deal with this. For instance, some data for Finland show that they have a limited amount also of homework, as well as they have this special approach how to provide as much as possible movement through the school day. So this is this could be an answer on this challenge, and that's why we asked colleagues from Finland and Estonia to present their approach, as well as the results of such approach. At this point, I will now pass the mic to Tuija. Tuija, please present us the concept as well as some results of schools in on the move in Finland.
Okay, thank you, Gregor. This was very important introduction, those guidelines, common guidelines, and now I share you a short presentation on Finnish Schools on the Move program. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Yes, thanks. So good Friday afternoon, everyone. And as Gregor said, my name is Tuija Tammelin, and I work in Jyväskylä in central Finland. And my background is in research, and I've been involved in Finnish Schools on the Move program since 2010, for 12 years now, and my role is linked to the research in this program. And we do have a separate person as a program director, Mr. Antti Blom, and he has a team of 6 people who have a full day job to take care of all program activities nowadays. And this team works for Likes, but they have an office in Helsinki at National Agency of Education. So we have the very, very tight connection to National Agency of Education and had a good team for these program activities. And in addition, we have a team of researchers and specialists from Likes who also support this coordination and do research related to this work. And most of us work in Jyväskylä in central Finland. And first, I will shortly summarize what is the basic idea of the program in Finland. And then I will say some words about the role of research in this development work. And finally, some words about the future directions, where we are going now with this program in Finland. So, what Gregor said in his introduction, we have taken this in Finland very seriously, how to increase physical activity and how to decrease sedentary behavior in school days. And Schools on the Move is a national program that coordinates local action in local projects in Finland, in different areas of Finland. So it's not a single intervention project or program, but that it's a program that has been, it's a kind of network of several local projects in the different areas, in municipalities in Finland and different schools around Finland. And the main aim is to establish physically active culture in all Finnish comprehensive schools. And in Finland, this means grades from 1 to 9, whereas children are from 7 to 16 years old. And the idea in Finland has been that the schools and municipalities who participate in the program, they implement their own individual plans, different plans to increase physical activity and decrease sedentary time during the school day. And there has been a free registration for all schools to join the program. And in Finland, the program has been carried out by Finnish National Agency of Education and the Ministry of Education and Culture. That's the highest level coordination. It's funded by lottery funding, and it's delivered mainly by Ministry of Education and Culture to different municipalities and also to Likes for these cooperation activities. And in practice, program has been coordinated by Likes, and we do have a very tight collaboration with Ministry of Education and Culture in this. And In 2010, we began with a 2-year pilot project, and we have 45 schools involved in the program. And after 10 years, 2020, we had more than 2,000 schools involved in the program. And that's more than 90% of all comprehensive schools in Finland. So it has been very well taken in schools, and schools have really wanted to take part in the program. And this figure shows the increase in the number of schools and municipalities that have been linked to the program. So we can take that the program and this idea to increase physical activity school day has been very well taken and accepted in schools. And it has also been very well funded in Finland by Ministry of Education and Culture. And the program has had a very strong political support since the beginning of the program. And it has been part of the government program and different government programs since 2009. And in government program 2015 to 18, it has been one of the key projects in the field of knowledge and education. And for instance, the funding for the key projects during that phase was 16 million euros for 3 years period. And half of that funding went to municipalities themselves to promote these activities. So we have had a very wide program and very intensive in Finland. And the principal simple idea has been to make the school days active and more pleasant. Physically active and more pleasant. And to use physical activities to make the school day more pleasant. And we have wanted to provide more movement and decrease sitting. And one important thing has been to increase student participation in activities and in the planning of physical activities. So take students, pupils, involve them in planning and doing the activities. And one important thing has been to improve and support learning by this increased physical activity. So when we have had different kind of program material and communication to schools, the focus in this message has not been only in health issues or obesity prevention, but instead in Finland the focus has been in the topics that interest key operators, the schools and teachers most. So the idea that physical activity, how it could support learning in schools and make more pleasant school days. Those have been the key issues in Finland, where we have done this in schools. And in practice, what the program has done, the program has used following working methods, and it has produced material to support work at school and municipalities. Program takes care of communication using newsletters, web pages, social media, and program facilitates the dissemination of best practices that schools have invented, and it facilitates networking at different levels. And seminars have been very important arenas for collaboration, networking, and development. And for instance, Merike and her team from Estonian have visited Finland's Schools on the Move seminar several times, and we have the next seminar in May in Turku, And after this Corona COVID period, we are happy to have more than 600 teachers and staff from education participating in this seminar again. And the program coordinates education and training, like further education for school staff, and seminars to teacher education students, for instance, to improve knowledge in this area. And in Finland, research and follow-up of the program has been very important part of the program from the very beginning. And the research also provides content and material that can be used in the development of the program. And most of the material, almost all, is of course in Finnish, but we have translated a couple of our reports in English too, and they are available in web. Then some words about the aims of the research related to the program. At the beginning of the program, we needed just more information in general level on school age children's physical activity in Finland, and we provided that. And of the program, we also evaluated the experiences and views of the different actors of the program. And then we have also evaluated the progress and effects of the program. And the idea is to provide feedback to funder and actors at different level and to develop the program further. And what we have done, we have done research and follow-up at different levels. And surveys and physical activity monitoring have been conducted in schools, and we have provided feedback for schools for them also. And for schools, we have developed a special self-evaluation tool for physical activity promotion. And this has been developed and used for schools. And it's like an online survey that is available for schools in the internet, and schools also get feedback to themselves too from that survey. And in municipalities, we have made interviews for local coordinators at municipalities. And then we have also combined this information to provide what's the status in Finland in general, how is program going on. So this is kind of follow-up of the program itself. And then we have selected and conducted research of the certain topics. And in Finland, especially the topics related to physical activity and learning has been very important during the program. And this research on physical activity and learning, it's been important for teachers. It's provided important background support to their actions when they aim to increase physical activity during the school day. So we have provided the evidence related to this link. And teachers in Finland have been very interested in this research on physically active learning. And we have produced different kind of material, not only scientific papers, slow reporting, but all kind of reports and brochures and presentations. And future directions. In the current government program in Finland, we do have mentioned an objective that a physically more active lifestyle will be encouraged for all population groups. And then there is a written text that we will launch a new Finland on the Move program and develop the evaluation process. And the aim is that we plan to expand the schools on the program to various life stages. So we will use this model we have used in comprehensive schools on the Move program. The same way we will disseminate it and expand it to other age groups as well. And when we think about children and young people, we do have 2 other physical activity programs too now for smaller children and young people. In addition to schools on the Move program, we also have Joy in Motion program for early childhood education and care for small children, younger children. And then we also have Students on the Move program, and this is for upper secondary education and higher education. And there is the link for the web pages of these different programs, and unfortunately, almost all the material is in Finnish. But some papers can be found in English too. And at Likes in Finland, we do have separate teams at this moment who work for Joy in Motion, Schools on the Move, and Students on the Move program. And I'm involved in all the programs in the topics related to research and follow-up. So, and I can later provide information if you want to meet or contact the persons who are responsible for the practical things in these programs. And during these years, we have got many international requests to visit Finnish schools and requests for different kind of services that different countries have wanted to create this kind of active school day themselves too. And for this purpose, we have also created Schools on the Move concept and services. And they are available. The description of these services is available at that web page. So thank you. And this is the weather like in Jyväskylä now. It's been snowing, but we are very optimistic that spring will come. Thank you.
Great, Tuija. Thank you. Thank you very much. I suggest to go further on the presentation of Estonian colleagues and then have a comprehensive discussion on both programs. So as Tuija said, Estonian colleagues adopted this approach to Estonian circumstances. That's why I'm now passing the floor to Estonian team. So Evelyn, Jarek, please present the Estonian approach to Schools on the Move. Yeah, we are seeing, but it's not in presentation mode.
Is it now better?
It's not in presentation mode. Yeah, now we are seeing the viewers, your view. Okay. So we are also seeing the next slide. But if you have some troubles, just go through this mode. Doesn't matter.
Just so we do it just take some moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Now it's
not yet. You have here on the top, you have view options, and maybe you can. Now we lost our Estonian colleagues. It seems so. Hello.
Hello. Yes, we're just trying to sharing. It's some part of this kind of conferences. Yeah. Just
yeah.
and now it will be.
It's the problem if you have two desktops, then you don't know which screen it starts to share.
Hopefully
now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Merike Kull, and I am from our Institute of Sports Sciences and Physiotherapy, and I'm involved in promoting Estonian program School in Motion from 2016. And this program is developed and implementing from our institute. And we have in our team approximately 10 persons with a very different backgrounds, like interdisciplinary team. There are sports scientists, there are people who are psychologists and social scientists. And so, because it's not just the question of physical education or sports sciences, so we have this kind of disciplinary team to meet all these kind of challenges what we have. And of course, when we started in 2016, we was very much supported by our neighbors in Finland and Liikkuva Koulu project. Thank you very much, Tuija, for all this support and very fruitful lot of discussion what we have, how to start develop this kind of national program. And as Tuija just had talked, we use a similar way. We started with pilot schools. As Estonia are more smaller, like Finland, we have 10 schools with 4 years piloting, looking the best solution, what works, and we learn a lot of during this period. And now we have 176 schools. It's approximately 30% of schools in our program. And as you can see, we have very similar aims to our program, like in our Finnish colleagues, to increase physical activity and decrease sedentary time during the school day. And we what we have learned that one very important purpose for us is to support schools in integrating physical activities into every school day. And our general model, what we presented to schools and we are working with schools, have presented here. And we can see here that it started how the children will go to school, then how to involve different parts from school family, like students, parents, teachers, manager of the schools, and of course all school day, like lessons, recess, and at the same time we started 2016 to update our physical education towards more lifestyle-based physical education. As before, we have very sport-centered physical education, and now we have the same time this process. And what we have learned, that we can't make any kind of this changes without taking into consideration this full school room and school house and the environment where all these physical activities are taking place. And of course, our role from university was to development activities and research activities to follow this piloting process. And very shortly about this kind of general theoretical framework, because when we started, we see that our general school culture was mainly built up a lot of rules that doesn't support physical activity. For example, you can't run and you can't go out during the recess time to outdoor. And so we need to keep all time in our minds that we are managing making the changes. And the three main components that will be all time keeping in our minds, that the first one of this is the meaning of physical activity, that this is not just physical education lesson in school, or this is not just the sport day in school, but it's much more wider meaning, and it can support this cognitive skills and academic achievement. And we need to widening the meaning of physical activity. The second important component that we should support the school families about new skills and experience and how to interpret physical activity to full school day, and not just sport activities, but we need to support schools something new skills that it's haven't before. And this is the third one. This is all rooms and all equipment or that the school needs to achieve the change that Estonian school culture is physical activity like natural part of the school day. This is this kind of general framework. And looking to this figure, what is now from our point of view, how we started to develop, there was this kind of systematic approach to school based on this previous model, because the schools, quite a lot of them, they started to joining to network, said that they need some kind of system how to make changes, and this kind of support tools, for example, from our monitoring tools, school self-analyzing tool. The second important part was the seminars. And again, we will learn quite a lot from our Finnish colleagues, different seminars for teachers and workshops and skill training for students, for schools principals, different target groups. And then, of course, different is to use materials supporting schools and movement integration methods that for schools, it will be supported and easy way to do. The one important part, what we see, and now we can say, based on the feedback of schools, it's really important to have this kind of supporting network and changing the practices, changing their real practices, what's happening in schools. And the schools have said that it's very important to know what really works in schools, and this kind sharing experiences have been important. And of course, our role as institute have been advocacy and developing partnership with ministries and other partners. And all time, this kind of monitoring and research-based approach have been one part of our activities. And throughout this process have been in very important place the co-creation of schools. Schools as experts, because if we are working here at university and developing solutions, it can't be work in real schools, in different schools environments. So this process have all time together with schools, and we use a lot of action research, observation in schools, and this kind of research methods. The second very important point of view is the flexibility of program. Like Tuija said, that every schools have their own way. And the third one at schools autonomy. They can change, they can modify, choose how they start, what are their main focus in first year, second year. So a lot of autonomy for schools. And of course, very important, this kind of advocacy or cooperation have been on Ministry of Education. And we are now happy to say that last autumn in Estonia, there was developed new education strategy, and the main action trajectories. And one of these have been now, that is named as essential action to promote physically active environments and study processes. So this is now on our very basic direction, and now it's written in educational strategy. And just one figure here at why it's so important. You can see this orange arrow, that it is still not in very high level, the possibilities for physical activity in schools. And here you can see the students' opinions from grade 4, 8, and 11, where students by themselves said that it's not very highly promoted, these possibilities in school. But during this is one method how we monitoring the whole process. This is in the National Education Survey, where all schools participating, and in cooperation with Ministry of Education, that is the on part of this study, the possibilities for physical activity in schools. And now we can, this study they made Ministry of Education every year, and we can now follow and monitoring the changes. And here you can just see that starting from 2018, there have been some increase, and this is a way how we can monitor the whole process in schools in national level. And just one example, like outdoor recess, we can see from this data how is going the schools who are participating in network and other schools. But of course, our main purpose that all schools are supporting physical activity in school. And so this is how we talk with schools, or how we describe. This is not some kind of short program. This is a long way to go, where all school family together, and they can choose their own way how to go, and with tempos on.
What kind of tempo?
Tempo, yes. How they started, how quickly they moved, and this is their own choice. And now just some examples, maybe the process starting when they joined to the network, starting with creating the team, physical activity team. And important to know that that is not, should be not included the physical education teachers, but very important to have all the teachers and school leader in this group. And then we provided the schools who just have joined the network, this kind of startup seminars, sharing this kind of systematic approach, and talking about meaning of physical activity and so on. And we provide them the toolkits for systematic planning. And just some example here about students' involvement, that their ideas will be part of this school own action plan in different levels. And of course, the involvement of the parents, they can be very important part, but we can't say that it works in every schools, but some schools it's very grateful. Cooperation have been with parents too. And here is just one example after this kind of school self-analysis and involved that the partners, the school are invited to create their action plans. And when what kind of activities they planned, and we encourage them not to hurry, but take for every year some focus. And here is just some examples what our main messages have been to the schools. That's just some part of the school travel actively. And one very important topic, what we just now see, has been discussion about school day structure. And where is the best ways to be active, and is there enough time for this kind of activities? For example, the recess time. If there are most schools, there are recess time about 10 minutes, then we can talk about possibilities to be active outdoor. So now we're talking more and more about different school day structures, and schools have starting to restructure their school day to provide, for example, that in Estonia, but there is 1 hour long break. Yes, and then we can talk that it's okay to go outside and to start play and make different physical activities. And I think that we are quite happy to say that we have good cooperation with our architects and landscape architects, that the new schools now who started to build or renovated, they taking into consideration this kind of schoolyard affordances to provide different activities for schoolyard, because if we talk about the outdoor recess, there should be some kind of affordances for student too. And we have now starting to discuss with local governments much more, and the schools should be the schoolyard beyond place for community physical active infrastructure. Yeah, and not just for children, but if we look the full different ages should be. This is one place that need much more investments, and we have some kind of brochures and materials to support. And just here one example how the schoolyards can be changed if we have meaning what is possible to do. And just here some good examples that we are happy about that these changes have. And additionally, during this process, updating our physical education lesson or curriculum, we can see now much more, and we very support that physical education lessons can provide different skills for during the recess, like these lifestyle skills, and we use physical education lessons sometimes to teach skills that they can use during the recess, this kind of popular things. And of course, one part of this program to open this kind of gyms for recess time, where is the dance recesses or ball game recesses, that students very like not to be only outdoor, but use these possibilities too. And of course, this kind of solutions that support not only outdoor, but indoor too, different activities, what you can do during the recess. And additionally, what we learned from our Finnish partners, how the students by themselves can be the physical activity leaders in schools. And now we provided this kind of trainings to support children to be by themselves leaders for physical activity. And one part of the program have been active learning methods. Here we develop this kind of training sessions for teachers, where is supported their the meaning of the physical activity, how it can support cognitive abilities and academic achievement. And this is very skill-based trainings. And of course, are provided the ready-to-use materials. And so here you can see just one study where teachers who are being in this seminar, they said that they feel more confident to integrate physical activity into lesson, and they try to break sitting time during the lessons much more every day now. Before that was less seldom. So, and additionally, what the teachers have said that this is not just decreasing the negative effect of this consecutive sitting, but also you see that it's motivating for learning, and they will be more focused. And as Tuija said, that teachers very appreciated and very interested about this kind of studies. As the school leaders said, that it's important to know, and they are always waiting this kind of study results. And just example that every school has their own program, how the physical activity can be natural part of the school day. This is like what is happening in Monday, Tuesday, and so on. And the last, but I think that maybe one of the most important approach that we have learned during these piloting years, when we started, we talk only about children physical activity. And now we have learned that we can't talk only about children physical activity, but same important to support teachers' physical activity and well-being in schools. That here pictures has some schools provided training for teachers, lot walk and talk, meeting, and so on. And this is one of last studies said that if the teachers moving more by themselves, they are much more positive attitudes to children physical activity at school too. And all these materials we have presented in our webpage. And there is the idea bank. There is a lot of ideas how to integrate physical activity to school days. And all our team say hello and a lot of greetings to you all. And more physical activity to everybody's school days. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Merike. Really great presentation also from your side. We are really interested and you totally meet our expectations. So I have a lot of questions anyway, but I'm now giving the floor to other participants of this event to ask the questions to our guests. So if you have some question, please open your mic and just ask. Yes, Polonza, please.
Hello, I'm coming from the National Institute of Public Health, and I'm wondering whether you have some connection to the physicians in the local environment. Do you cooperate with them? Do you have any common activities?
I can give a comment from Finland side.
Yes, please.
Thanks. And we are collaborating all physical activity program. The local people, they are collaborating a lot with school nurses, for instance, and that's the most important partner in health sector, I think. And for many activities, school nurses can be involved. And for instance, like in some schools, they have organized a kind of personal training program for the students who are physically least active. And school nurses are important contact in this. that they discuss with these persons and present this kind of special group for you and your friends if you like to come, and they get some personal counseling.
Okay.
That's one way. That's one way to collaborate.
Okay, thank you, Tuija, for this. Just maybe to mention that in Finland they do not have a profile like we have kinesiologists. So their nurses are those who actually cover also this aspect. So here we have a little more advantage in regards to the competencies of the personnel involved. What about the Estonia? Do you have any connections with the health care?
We can say in general that we do not have the connections, but connections like ongoing. But we have used family doctors and also nurses within our seminars, sometimes presenting what is the benefit of the use of this method, and they actually their association of family doctors, they fully support us what we do. So yes, direct projects are not like ongoing, but we know each other, and we have their full support. And if I'm not wrong, then there was also a public question to the family doctors in the newspaper whether this approach is true, and there was also a public answer from the doctors that yes, what they do is the right thing to do. Yeah, and in general, part of our money comes also from the Ministry of Social Affairs. So
and this Ministry of Social Affairs, what is the actual area that it covers? Also health system or not?
Sotsiaalministeerium rahastabki kogu meie tervisesüsteemi.
Can you please ask the question more?
Yeah, so you answered that this program is covered by Ministry of Social Affairs. What kind of services is financed by this ministry? Also healthcare system or not?
Yes.
Okay.
All public health areas is promoted and financed by Ministry of Social Affairs, and as the children physical inactivity is a really big problem, that's the reason why they supported this program.
Okay, I have additional question here. What about educational system? It's also covered and it's under the umbrella of this Ministry of Social Affairs or not?
We have this kind of free ministry. We are working together, and this is Ministry of Social Affairs, Ministry of Education and Research, and Ministry of Culture. What is the sport strategies? And this is like mixture of free ministries, and we're working with them together.
Okay.
The program was taken as the strategy approach of the government, but when it came to the money, then it was like a ping pong between the ministries who would be the supporter, and then their decision was that this would be at the first stage, it will be the Ministry of Social Affairs. And the money currently, it is not coming directly from the budget of this, we can say, health insurance, but it's the additional project. So it's mainly outside of the health system, I can say, the money now.
Okay, thank you. I have here additional question. I think it's really well connected with previous one. What is the role of municipality in the program?
Tuija vastab. Tuija, you will start. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Merike. Yes, and in Finland we organize the funding for these activities so that municipalities made an application and they coordinated schools activities in municipalities. So they make an application and applied some financial support, and the financial support was given to municipality. And at this moment, we have a kind of schools on the move coordinators in the most active cities and municipalities. And we have a network of these coordinators. And last week and this week, we have had meetings for these schools on the move coordinators. And this is very important support for each others, and they can change ideas and models how to do it in cities and municipalities level. And they organize in cities a network of local school coordinators. So this is a network way of doing.
Okay, one additional question here. And what kind of costs are actually covered with this funding? So are they covering, for instance, equipment, personnel, or what kind of costs are behind?
In Finland, for instance, you can get money for equipments, but not anything big structuring work, but equipments, and then you can hire a person to coordinate actions, and then you can get funding for teachers, further education, and these kind of activities. Many ways, but the idea is not half of the funding should be given by the municipalities by themselves. So that the idea is that you have to choose to do the activities that you could continue after the external funding stops, because that's very important, not only to count on external funding, but if you want these activities to be in the basic structure of schools and municipalities, you have to develop something new with this funding that continues after the funding period. That has been the idea, and it's also been challenging.
Yeah, thank you. What about in Estonia? Do you have the same approach about the kind of costs that you covered centrally by government?
Here we have a different approach. We are not from this program, not direct support school, not. We're just providing the seminars, workshops, and some materials. So, but we encourage our local governments, working with them, that they will support the schools, for example, to develop the schoolyards and so on, but not from program direct budget or some financial support from schools. This is not in our program.
So yes, for us, the activities
are free of charge.
The activities in University of Tartu are covered all.
Yeah.
But the school, they are just participating. We provide all kind of different support, except equipment, for example. If there were any examples of the equipment that the school has done, this has been done by the initiative of the school or the government or the local government.
Exactly. For example, we have some bigger local governments, this kind of, not this contract, but we have talk about when from their local government, the new schools joining the network, that every school gets some support from local government. You understand?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I have one really important content topic also to discuss. What is actually the role of PE teachers within this system? Because you mentioned that you have these school leaders who are actually not the PE teachers. So is this the case in every school? So is deliberately selected teacher which is teaching some other subject, and what actually is the role of PE teachers within this system?
In Estonian example, we encourage to make the school team like this, that there should be the school leader, there should be teachers from different grades, not just the primary school, but in
middle and upper, yes, yes.
Exactly. And physical education teachers can be like experts, but in some schools where only physical education teachers, then don't start work very well, because it's just some way, like what they always doing some things, they started to do the same things, but important that it's whole school, family, personal is involved. It's very important. It's like the meaning. It's not just sport activities, but that every teacher will be supported in schools. And we don't talk only about the teachers, we talk every staff member who are working in school. And so it's important to see different viewpoints.
Okay.
This is our approach. And
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tuija. Yeah.
Experts, but not who are making everyday things. Yeah.
Tuija, what about in Finland? What is the position?
We have the similar kind of approach, so that PE teachers, I think they are the best specialists in the content and how to organize activities. But if you want to get all the teachers involved, you want to have math teachers, history teachers, to make the school, the lessons, academic lessons and school day more active. Sometimes it's better to have, if you get like a math teacher as a coordinator at school level, it's good for her to get others who are not so sporty type, all teachers involved. And then they can ask PE teachers for advice and to organize things, because of course they have the content expertise in these kind of things. Yeah.
Okay, great. I would ask one more question, and then I will give a floor to others. I'm really keen about this outdoor recess time, as well as organization. For instance, in Slovenia, we have some kind of experience on this, but introducing in some schools, there are some problems regards to organization. Also, because with introducing recess, we are prolonging the time of schooling, and we have some students who actually are who are driven by the school bus, etc. So I wonder how you organize the school day, introducing such long recess. You said that you actually prolonged to almost an hour of this long recess time. Do you have some difficulties? Do you have some models on this, or this is totally autonomy of the school how to handle
it? In Finland, all the schools have great autonomy, and all the teachers have great autonomy, and schools have found their own system to make the school day schedule, put a new structure on that. As Merike told, they have done this in Estonia too, and they have been maybe combined to academic lessons, and then they have, for instance, a longer recess period together with lunchtime, and then it's possible to organize different recess activities, or open the gym for these kind of free activities, not only for PE teaching, but use gym for that, or organize a dancing in some classroom for girls, especially, or some special activities. But I think the schools and principals especially are good in organizing these, because you have to think about several things in school's daily life, and principals are, of course, key persons in this to organize this.
But you are not merging this break with the meal break, or do you? So you have also meals in schools, like lunch, for instance?
Yes, we do have all schools provide free lunch, and sometimes some schools have wanted to have this longer recess time together with this lunch time, and but there are different solutions, not only one model. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Merike and Jarek, would you like to also speak about your experience on this?
Yeah, it's pretty much similar what Tuija has told. In Estonia, these schools, they have pretty high autonomy, even starting from the time when they start their lessons. For example, it can be at 8 o'clock, it can be at 9 o'clock. It's totally free for the schools when they can start it.
So you also you really have schools who are starting at 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
I think we find something, yes. And this comes also to this long break. It's just that we can share the ideas, share some methods, how different schools have approach to the problem, and then it's up to the school how it merges either it's a long break or 2 shorter breaks or whatever. It's totally on the school's decision, I should say. So they will make the choice what they can afford and when and at what time. There are even I asked it after we talked in Brixen that even within one school, there can be different times for long breaks for different classes, which means that there are not so-called actually the actual school bells calling to the break, because for some school, for some classes, it still can be a lesson.
Okay, thanks. Now I'm giving the floor to others, please. Yeah, I'm asking too much. I'm too curious on your program. Okay, are there any other questions from my colleagues? Or from Jose Juan? Hello.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder, I really like how you integrate this physical activity in everyday, usual routine. And my question is, how do the kids respond to these interventions or to these changes? And maybe especially how do the kids who are not so fit or usually who don't like physical activity that much, how do they respond? Do they like to join in? Do they sit at the sides? So yeah, that's the question.
Okay, I can start. Yeah.
Okay.
When we're starting the pilot phase, then all the schools who participated, they get this kind of service, and one question for the different students from different grades, and we ask what should be changed in school that you can move more. And there were so many answers about it. Please doing something that we can go outdoor. We would like much more to play together. We want to climb, we want to run. So all the activities, what we now developed starting based on the student answers. But your question is, does it everybody likes for elementary grades? It's like everything. But when we start talk about the 7th to 9, it's really challenging. We can't say that we have very good solutions for these grades, but we are starting to understand that maybe this kind of gym things or some dance things will be okay, but not outdoor recesses. Doesn't work. This is our experience now. Maybe Tuija can say that they students from upper grades going and running in outdoor, but for elementary grades, there is a lot of things that they want to do and they are happy to do, but when they go older, it's much more challenging.
And there was, just to include, I remember one result that Merike has presented is that now Merike currently told more about maybe this recess, but also the question for the students have been that the changes in your school in general that has been taken also place in regular classes. How do you feel, or what is your relations to the school day? And we can say that in general there has been a dramatic increase of the satisfaction of the school day. So currently our experience is that if there are some, so you don't have to worry about them, the majority takes it very, very well.
Yeah, when we started additionally to this web-based service, we make this kind of focus group interviews from different ages to understand what are their needs and opinions about different solutions. Tuija.
Thank you. Tuija, please.
Yeah, thanks. We have similar experiences as Merike and Jarek told. And I think that Nina, you asked a very important question, and it's always important to keep in mind that we don't organize the activities only for those who are already sporty one, but try to keep in mind that we want to have those so easy access activities, and also for those who are not so interested in sports but maybe would like to participate in something. And it's, I think that one good tip is that don't try to, as an adult, think that you know what they like, but always remember to take the children into planning and really ask and listen what they want to do. Surprise you that sometimes it's very simple what they want to do. Yeah.
Thanks. I have two additional questions on this topic. First is about your experience with students on the move. So we are wondering how this program actually have affected how it affects the, let's say, students from age 15 to 18. And the second question is also, how do you include also students with, for instance, different cultural background? For instance, probably you have also some immigrants, some people from Syria, or some Muslim people who actually have a different perspective on physical activity. So I'm wondering about how do you involve them?
Yes, thanks. When we go to students on the move, of course, they are a bit older and they are more focused in studying. And also the activities have been a bit different. Maybe during the school days or studying days, one important aim is to decrease or break excessive continuous sitting. Break sitting, try to to increase well-being and during the school lessons too. And that's one approach. And the other approach is, of course, to increase physical activity level, maybe fitness level, and improve well-being among students. Well-being is a key word among older students. And of course, it depends the schools, what kind of schools we are operating with. And in some schools, if you are studying for the physical occupations where you really need physical fitness, it's the fundamental of your workability, then you need a bit different approach, and then you can focus on fitness improvement and stress how important it is to be in good physical fitness. But in other schools, we may be more try to promote on general physical activity and health and well-being items. But for certain schools, improvement in your physical workability, how to maintain that, it's an important topic and motivates students and motivates teachers too, if you can link it to your future occupation. Yeah.
Thanks. Merike and Jarek, do you have also experience with this older, so with adolescents as well as some other cultural background groups?
Our program now it's mainly to the basic schools. We are not now involved so much in gymnasium in the older level. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have, yes, we can say that we do not have the direct results on that. It's based on the school. If the school does something, then yes. And the second question, in Estonia, we have really, we can say, pretty few of those groups that you mentioned. Yes, we have the Russian students and also Ukrainian students before the war also. The Russians are the biggest group, and the Ukrainians, I guess, is the second nationality that we have in Estonia, in not very big amount, but still. And most of the schools, there are Russian and Estonian students together. And in eastern part of Estonia, there are also direct schools with Russians. But it's again the school approach. There are, I asked Merike, there are schools from this region also where the fully Russian students are involved. So it's yes, up to the schools.
It's very
okay.
And yes, most of Estonians, yeah, we don't have this Muslim people very much. They're really very few.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm again passing the floor to others for questions.
Sorry, Jurek, I
Yes.
have a question about how do you implement the seminars about promoting active lesson, active recess? Because I think that the key in this physical activity promotion in schools is how do you motivate the teachers and also the students. And for physical education teachers, it's easier because they are conscious about the importance of the issue. But what about math teachers and so on? Do you use special seminars for this type of teachers? And if so, where can we find this information, these presentations?
Thank you, Jose. So, Tuija, can you answer on this? How do you approach to teachers?
Yeah, and you are right. And PE teachers, they know all the benefits of physical activity and sports for well-being and health. But in Finland, from the very beginning of the program, we increased knowledge and awareness about the effects of physical activity on learning outcomes and things that are linked to better learning. And physical activity can be used many ways to promote learning processes too. And there is research results available for this. And what we did, we collected these research results and make a literature review. In 2012, we published a literature review on physical activity and learning, and it was a kind of bestseller among teachers. And we have continued to do that, and we have also done research related to physically active learning methods by ourselves too, to learn about that by ourselves and learn the ways how to disseminate it. Things. And I think this approach, how could physical activity used to support learning, or tell that if you use some time of the academic learning to these kind of activities, it's not harmful for learning outcomes. That's also important. It doesn't necessarily benefit, but it's not harmful. It's you can add physical activity to academic lessons. And
thanks to so
Yeah.
the first step, as I understand, the first step that you delivered actually was to introduce this awareness of importance of physical activity for cognition, for learning. This was the first step, and on this ground you then build the motivation of teachers to take part of this program.
yes, and this literature review was it was published by National Agency of Education. It was made by researchers but published by National Agency of Education, and it reached schools quite well. Yeah, that was
Okay,
the strategy.
Yeah, please, Merike.
We started like this way. We promoted or developing with teachers a teacher training model. This is 1 day plus other day, 2 days model. We piloted this and using a lot of teachers their own opinions, what is like they dream teacher training model. And now we are already promoted like network for this kind of teacher training, and the trainers are the teachers by themselves. We have together make this kind of training for these new trainers. And for example, there is some of the math teachers by themselves. They are practicing teachers, but now they are teacher trainers too. This is easy way, like teacher for teacher approach. But all
Multipliers, yes.
Yeah, but all the program have developed with the university and all materials used. And now we provided this kind of training, like full school-based training, because the pilot years, the piloting phase, only some teachers from one school came to our network seminars, but it doesn't work in school level. If there are 1, 2, or 3 teachers have going throughout the training, and they said all time, okay, we're starting, but other teachers looking at what they're doing here, and why the students go to the corridors and outdoor and what's happening. And the school needs was that they would like to have a school-based training, but we haven't so many people here to provide, and now we make the next step that is accordance to the school needs. And it's very important that the teachers by themselves now train for this training, and they always can many questions and answers, and of course they starting like Tuija said, saying why this physical activity can support the academic achievement. This is that one part of this training, that we have different parts of this training, like outdoor training and so on. This is our model now.
Yeah, I just wanted to include that I put one Facebook page that the movement lab has. It's Estonian, but you can see that we share the different materials and different online so-called courses, so that they appear weekly or monthly basis, so that every teacher or school who is interested might join, and there is also a different material stuff there. And if I remember also one question, the materials, we can say from our side that from your viewpoint, unfortunately, there are no materials, because we still work in Estonian and we have not yet like provided them more into public, because there is overwhelmingly a lot of work to do with the project itself, rather than just disseminating it wider. But it can be maybe some Gregor, maybe some Erasmus project, that how we can, for example, share our experience from Finland.
Yeah, of course, you know that we are targeting physical literacy within feedback project, and this could be a great materials for also to increasing physical literacy. So we will speak on this if we will get this project, of course.
I just add that additionally to this teacher training courses, we started with our study community in Facebook, and that is approximately 4,000 teachers, and they shared by themselves too. I think that were 1, 2, 3, some examples what they are doing, and this is very supportive if you see that other teachers doing this kind of things. It's not somebody outside of the school will tell, and this works now quite well.
We actually have a close group in Facebook also for the schools in motions, but this is closed because they share the pictures there and children are there, so it's not, we cannot put it public in this way. So maybe the main discussions in the school, within the schools, is on this page that we cannot put to public, but in this page that I shared, there are also materials and stuff for those ones who would like to join to the network.
Great, thank you. So we are really close to the end of time that we actually scheduled for this meeting. So I'm now opening the last call for some questions. Are there some other questions? No? If not, then I would really like to give you a big thank you for this overview. It was really interesting, and I think we have a much better idea how you really performed this program, and I'm really happy that we also include the Finland as well as Estonia, because Estonia is the perfect example how actually this program was adopted to another country. So this could be also a situation for Slovenia, and I hope our group for sure already included measures of this program in our suggestions, and that's why we wanted to search for additional information, and we are really grateful that you shared your experience with us. Maybe I will come with some additional questions via email, and I am sure you will support our actions. So really, Tuija, Merike, and Jarek, thanks from your side, and I'm sure also teachers in Slovenia will be grateful that you shared this experience.
Thank you very much. This was very nice afternoon meeting you all.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregor.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.